Now, there has been a lot of precedents in the House over the past 6 months. Yes, we've had a lot of MPs shown the door, although that has happened for many years. But we've had a haka, we've had a C-bomb dropped, and we've had an MP holding up a naked image of herself. What? Well, in context, it was what we call, as we know, as a deep fake. ACT Party MP Laura McClure, is taking a stand against the rise of sexually explicit deep fakes with their proposed deep fake digital harm and exploitation bill. As a mum, she says she's deeply concerned about how easily these AI-generated images are created and the profound emotional and psychological harm they inflict. She emphasises what once was a problem, say, for celebrities, is now affecting everyday individuals, including young people in schools around the country. The technology, like all tech, is just getting better and better pretty much every single day, it seems. Creating and posting deep fake porn without consent is a form of image-based abuse. The bill seeks to amend the Crimes Act 1961 and the Harmful Digital Communications Act of 2015, expanding the definition of intimate visual recordings. And to explain what the changes will entail is Laura McClure. Good morning, Laura.
Good morning, Leah.
Nice to see you. I was about to say good afternoon again. I'm just getting a little bit used to the change in time just for the day. Oh, it was a pause. The deep fake picture you made of yourself, just to paint the picture, or indeed you've got it for those that are watching. Do you want to hold it up?
Sure. So this is the one I showed in the house. So as you can see, it's kind of, the face looks a lot like me.
Yes.
Obviously it's blurred so that we
don't see.
Yeah, we don't see it. Still, it looks an awful lot like me, which is quite scary.
So for those that are listening online and can't see it, Laura held up a picture. It was a naked woman from like looking over her shoulders, so you would have seen her bottom, and it looks like Laura, but it was, in fact, a deep fake that you made. How did it feel? Before we get into this, Laura, how did it feel holding that up in Parliament?
It was actually deeply uncomfortable. So for the first time, I felt really nervous before I gave the speech, and I was a bit apprehensive about doing it. I think for those that, especially my colleagues across the House that know I'm pretty confident when I'm speaking, they could tell that I was quite nervous. It was absolutely nerve-wracking, despite me creating the image myself. And also knowing that it's not real and it being blurred, it was still, it was still scary. And I think it was important to do, though, because I needed to show how easily this can be done and how realistic it can look to the other members of the House, so that they could see that this could be them or their child or somebody that they love. And that was really the point.
And Laura, tell us how quick and easy it was to create these deep fakes, because you've just said it then you were quite shocked about the process.
Yeah, absolutely. So it took me less than 5 minutes. I just did a Google search. I took off the filter and just typed in deep fake nude, and there was hundreds of sites. The first site that popped up was a blogger rating his top 60 sites to do this. And it was so easy to do. You didn't need to, a lot of them didn't even need an email sign up or anything. It just had a click, are you 18 and do you have permission to use this person's image? Of course, you tick the box and say yes. And that was it. I mean, I had 10 or so images within 5 minutes. And some of them looked like they could be in my home, like in my bathroom, or, actually at my house, which was quite scary.
That is just, I've never looked into it. So that is disturbing. You were researching this bill, Laura, and you heard a lot of stories and mostly from youth, from young people and nearly always female. I mean, I'm not surprised by that, but it saddens me. But that's correct, eh? It was mostly young women.
Yeah, so it is. It's mostly young women, and the limited research we do have on this is about 98% of females that are reporting this to the likes of NetSafe, for example. So, and it seems to be a youth. It seems to be a trend that is occurring within high school, particularly. Although one of the cases that I heard was from an intermediate with a 13-year-old
Oh,
who in fact actually really tragically and sadly tried to commit suicide on site at school after this incident, which I think motivated me even more to do something about this issue. And I just wonder, is it going to take one of these young people taking their own life for this to actually become become law? So, and I don't think that needs to happen. I think we should be doing more about it, and very urgently.
you mentioned NetSafe, and yeah, they quoted this: every day we answer the phone, and we have suicidal people on the other end because stuff like this has been sent and it's not them. Every day, Laura. The public, we don't know this. The New Zealand public is not aware.
I know. And what is actually quite scary is that they're getting the everyday reports because people are wanting their image taken down, for example. What you
Mm.
don't hear about is this is one of the most underreported things. So this could be happening on what I believe to be quite a larger scale, but because there's no repercussions or punishment or victim support, because it's not technically a crime,
Yes.
people don't even report it sometimes. So I think it's more than just a case a day. I think it's actually quite a large issue from what I'm being told by particularly teachers, principals, and parents that are concerned where this has been happening.
You've mentioned, yeah, so the current legislation hasn't kept up with tech, I gather, and there is this grey area that hasn't been defined with the use of AI for synthetic
Mhm.
sexually explicit content. What needs changing? What does your bill look into?
Yeah, so this bill works on a amendment that was done by the previous government in 2022 when they addressed the revenge porn. And it was actually suggested by a Green member at the time that there should be an amendment to include deepfake, which ACT strongly supported. Unfortunately, that was voted down by the government of the day, not foreseeing really the future. And now we find
Mm,
ourselves in this position where this is becoming increasingly challenging. My bill is quite simple. It just amends and builds on what we already have to include synthetically or artificially made images that are of likeness to an individual. And it's different to just photoshopping a head on something. This is
yeah.
actually used, the technology can create something out of almost nothing, really, just a simple photo that is publicly available.
I always find when it comes to, I mean, because with technology and it, it's so advanced and it seems daily, not just deep fakes, but AI itself is always moving forward. How hard is it, do you think, though, to those that are responsible for this? What will be the consequences? How do you catch
Yeah,
them?
look, I think that in most cases, and actually particularly with school, they actually know who the perpetrator is, and quite often it's friends of the
Yeah.
individual that may dob them in, or they may be able to say, I got this sent by so and so, and it's quite easy to find who they are. Under the current act, there is potential imprisonment for up to 2 years. I do think like that could be quite extreme when you're talking with our youth. However, without any criminal aspect at the moment, we don't have any repercussions potentially for this, other than what the school may impose, like a stand down or potential expulsion, for example.
Mm.
But what I would like to see is um, a potential program that comes in place around if you do commit this kind of crime, that there is some sort of potentially course that they go on about the harms and how serious this is. And also just the fact that this could be something that could end up on a young person's criminal record. I think that is quite a huge deterrent because at the moment there is no consequence really. And
Yeah.
all everything is worn by the victim of these kind of crimes.
Yeah, because you were saying that 98% is female and young, and it's like that revenge porn as you mentioned. So it could be just it's like a form of bullying, and some bunch of kids or a kid doesn't like that kid, and well let's embarrass them and deep fake them nude, and that. But the consequences of that to a young person, to anyone really. I mean, you said how you felt like you got the ex holding up your deep fake picture in the house, knowing fully well everyone knew it wasn't you. But
Exactly.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I can imagine how devastating it would be if your image was pushed in that situation or went social, and it wasn't you. It's just, it's terrible. It's a terrible thing to happen.